Dave here, how are you? Today is the 22nd of September 2019, my 40th wedding anniversary. There you go. Same girl, all those years, and looking forward to another 40 years. Anyway, here we go. So I'm hoping we have, I said so, but I'm going to try and not say so. I'm hoping no audio. I think there should be. Let me have a look. Peter, I will check, but I think I've got audio. Audio there. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Peter, turn the audio on at your place. All right, so, I said so again. What am I doing? Congrats. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, as I say, I hope for another 40 years. That'd be fantastic. Now, today on the show, let me get my list. We have this unbelievable Turner 4.5 hand plane. Ian came in and it was on the show, as you would have seen a couple of weeks ago, and I think I caught the bug. I caught the Turner hand plane bug, and as they are not going to be made anymore, they stopped production in 1970. Ian was saying with his collection of, I forget how many hand planes, but with his collection, he says that he is the custodian. He's the keeper of the planes, and they will be handed on. So, well, said it again. We will not ever own something forever. It will be ours, and then it will be passed on to someone else. And if we can maintain the condition of it, that'd be fantastic. And that's what I'm going to do today. Most of the show will be about tidying up this number 4.5 smoother. I did a little bit on the resin, and lovely. Well, I don't know if it's resin. It's actually called cellulose acetate. That's what we're going to do. I'm controlling what I'm saying. And what else have we got? What else? Last week, the TV soundbar. I will jump in now and show you quickly how it came up. Come down to here, TV 2. Here we go. I'll transition over to this. This is the articulated arm that's on the wall, and you can see at the bottom the aluminium angle that I drilled the holes in the angle. That's 40 millimeters by 40 millimeters by 3 millimeters thick. I drilled the holes in where the legs you would normally get mounted to the underside of the TV, and I put the leg fastening screws back through those holes with a bit of a countersink and locked it on. There are 2 more holes across the bottom that lock into the back of the sound bar. Let's go to another picture from the front. I think it looks really nice. It blends in so well with the TV. And up to the main picture here. Here it is on the wall from where I look at it. So I was pretty happy with that. Indeed. The thing about the screen and having the sound bar aim the same direction as the screen is, that gives you balance, and so you can line up to where things are actually, the sound source is coming from. Your ears are working in stereo, aiming to help your eyes focus on the center. If both your ears are giving you the same amount of input, you've got bifocal or binocular vision, you have binocular ears as well. Imagine if your ears were twisted around on your head and you heard something over there, but you're looking over there. It's no good. That's why I did this little project, and wow, what a difference. It's fantastic. I really do enjoy it. So there we go. That's why I did it. Stephen, hand tool fever, electric battery tools, 5 years. Well, if that's your problem, good on you. But I think my problem is going to be these Turner hand planes. I looked at them and they're just a thing of beauty. I don't know if I'll ever use them. They'll probably go on a cupboard up on the wall. I might make a nice display and I'll look at them. But the rest, every now and then you'll grab one down and use it. Why not? All right, next thing. I'll do a couple of just lame things right at the beginning. Well, when I say lame, it's not woodworking. It's something has happened during the week. And one of the things I did was I went down to Sydney and grabbed my mum for the day, brought her up here, and she had a great time because it's springtime up here and all of the blossoms are happening. So she was having a ball up in the front garden. There she is wandering around. She's not doing too bad for a 90-year-old person. You know, the walking frame to help, but she had a great time up here. And she's a bit of a photography buff. So there she is taking a couple of snaps of one of my tree ferns up in the front garden. There we go. And what else have we got here? Come back to me. Isn't it great? So often we forget about the previous generation when they are not as active and can't get around themselves, and our lives are very busy. Transition and Pipta. I don't know what you're talking about there. How's the planer base going? No idea, Wayne. Planer base? You'll have to be a little bit more specific in these questions, because as I'm talking about what's happening on the show and just sharing a couple of things from the week, I also, here's an example. Last week when I was working on the sound bar, the angle for it, there are so many things happening while I'm doing this. And with metric, it's a great system, but sometimes when you get to 1,000 millimeters or 1,002, the measurements that I had were 253.5 millimeters from the end or from the center. There were so many things happening that I said, of course, half of whatever it was is not 253 millimeters. Well, it was 253.5, but I'm just trying to explain to you why I look like an absolute wally when I said that. Yep. Hi, Leroy. How are you? Now, one of the other things, as you know, I have a silly dog called Barry, and this picture was, he got up to walk somewhere but fell asleep before he got off his bed. He was out for the count. That's amazing. Anyway, come back to the front picture here, and away we go. All right, let's get started on this little project. We've got an iMuffs giveaway as well in the description box down below, with the other text there, links and what have you. There is the link to the iMuff competition. International, anyone can win it. Jump in. I think the question is who invented them. It's a copy of a iMuffs competition I did about 6 months ago. I thought, why not? George is fantastic. George, whoop, I told you who won, but you'll have to tell me his last name. Asking how Brett was going with his joint base going. Okay, cool. Dave had another look at the machine and found 4 threaded holes in the top and 2 lifting rings supplied, so fitted them and lifted with a forklift on the mobile. There you go. There you go. Great. Brett just bought a jointer, under over machine, like it's does 2 jobs, planes and thicknesses, or joints and planes. I think Australians and people in the UK are the only people that call them a thicknesser. There's been lots of chat about that. Behind me, you'll see I've got the bandsaw set up. I'm going to clean this up. Now, this is the handle. This is the tote for the number 4.5 Turner plane. Now, I've had this lying in evaporust and some of the other parts in evaporust, and this one I haven't touched yet. It's come straight out of the evaporust, and I'm going to clean that up. That's the backing iron. This is the blade, and it's looking really cool. One thing you'll notice, see at the front here, that really shiny part of metal and this, they're 2 different pieces of steel. This is the part that gets honed and sharpened all the way back down to about here. This part doesn't need to be as good quality steel. Basically, all it's doing is holding, say this is a whole arrow, this is the arrow head. This is the sharp part. So there's a tip. If you didn't know, that's how it happens. I didn't know about that until around 3 months ago. I was talking to one of the guys at work, and there was a set of chisels there, and they had the same kind of thing. The front, basically the front inch, was a different steel. Now, I'm going to move a couple of things. While I'm doing this part, I may take a little bit of time. This is going to be more of a live event rather than something that's programmed. So you'll see me doing things, and I'll be thinking about what I'm going to do in the next stage as well. So it may not be as fluid. But here we go. Good on you, Rick. My pleasure, my pleasure. It's good fun. As I say, we take for granted what we have, that we can get around, we can do whatever we want, really. If you're in my age group, you've probably got all of your financial worries out of the way, you're cashed up, you can do whatever you want and have a ball. One thing that I don't do is I don't travel around the world, because I would rather stay in here and play with my toys. Hence, I've got a couple of dollars and that's all there is to it. I don't blow it. Well, I do blow it. I blow it on things like this plane. All right, first thing over there to the bandsaw. I'll bring this little camera here over, and hopefully that will see what's happening. I'm going to have a quick check on the side here. So, main camera, second camera. That looks pretty good. I'll do a transition. There we go. Right, now, dust extraction. We'll turn that on using my remote. And as I was saying, I was talking about eye muffs. I'll pop those on. This is Western Red Cedar. I think you can see it there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make some soft jaws for my vise that I put on the bench. And after I tricked up how to square this up, you'll see how nicely it cuts. Around the back. I'll turn that off. It cuts just so straight. Absolutely beautiful. All right, next thing to do, go back to the other camera and flip it over to there. JB Carbotech machines are built in China, they're built in Taiwan, they're built in Australia, they're built all over the place. It depends on which particular machine. Taiwan is probably the main place. Very, very... People ask me about this and they say, oh, it's Chinese. Well, there's a couple of things about that. In China, you'll have good factories and you'll have not so good factories. It's the same the world around. Labor isn't very expensive in China, but you'll find most of the companies that more reputable companies have their machines built there will have their own people there as well, overseeing and making sure that things are going the right way. So if that answers your question, let's have a look. I need to move this back over here. I might move this one over here for a second. Give me a sec. As I say, it's going to be a little bit backwards and forwards, but that's okay. Should be okay. All right, I'm going to have a look at how that camera is running now. I'm going to do a quick cut over at the Capex. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Here we go. What is the TPI on your bandsaw? That's the standard one. It's a 6 TPI and it's a 3/8 blade, so 10 millimeters. It's the standard blade that comes with it. Here's a tip. If you want to get a really nice bandsaw blade to make cutting as smooth as possible, get an aftermarket blade. The blades that they normally put on machines are just a blade to say, all right, it's got a blade on it. If you go to a company in Sydney, there's a company called Henry Brothers out near Vineyard, near Windsor. They make very nice blades indeed. So you can have a chat to them. Around the world, you'll probably be able to find out what blades you can get. Check the backlash on the Heron Phillips Chinese lathes versus Taiwan lathes. No comparison. Well, again, it depends on which company you're getting it from and where that company is sourcing it from. Anyway, let's get over here. I've got to dock this off. And I'll open up this dust extractor. I have a port under the CapEx, so that when I'm cutting, the dust is collected by this point here with a dust extractor down there. Also at the back of the unit, it's sucking the air down. Now when I'm cutting small pieces, I use this thing. This is called a $10 million stick. 10 digits. This looks after all of them. I've already measured this distance. This is one of the advantages of my fence system in comparison to what everyone else is doing at the moment. They're trying to do T-track in the bench and not have any fence. I like this. So I will put that there and hold it with that. And that keeps my fingers right away from everything. Watch this. You like that? And another one. As I say, I'm making some soft jaws. About there. Beautiful. Both the same. Do you see any dust? Not really. I didn't even turn the big extractor on. I will a little bit later. All right, where are we? Switch back to there. Hegner. I have no idea. I have no idea about Hegner. Get that other camera back. And over here. And I think that's about the end of walking the camera around all over the place today. That can sit there. I think that'll work. Decarbonate $10 million sticks. Couldn't find it in Perth. Also knows they don't sell drop saws. $10 million stick. I'll show you that quickly. No, Carbotech do not sell this. This was given to me by Steve Innes. Do you remember Steve? Steve used to watch the show a lot. And he probably still does every now and then. Steve, when I was first starting out, Steve sent me a few things up. It was very much appreciated, you know. Lovely guy. And this thing came up to me. These are sold by TimberCon, I think. Have a look. But these are fantastic. It's got 3 high grip rubber points on the underside. When you put it down to hold something, it does it really well. There's your handle point there. There's your 2 points to balance behind where you're cutting, and this is where the saw is going to be cutting. So it holds onto things beautifully. I love this. I love it. You know, I probably should put a link in the description box down below for it. Yeah, maybe later on today. But I may be preoccupied with my girl. All right, next thing to do is we'll have a quick look at the blade at the backing iron, and I'm going to switch cameras again so you can see what's happening. About there. Maybe CarlCam. Let's have a look. I've got CarlCam running again. Yeah, why not? Here we go. FastCap do sell them, I think. Yep. Good. I thought TimberCon would sell it. Now we have this. Now this is the backing iron, and it has a little bit of rust on it, but it's not a lot. It's only really after it's come out of the evaporust. I never cleaned it up straight away. With this one, this was absolutely filthy. I'm going to show you how filthy this was. When I get my mouse again, I'll find the picture down there. This is how the plane was after I bought it on eBay. So you can see the comparison. The front knob I tidied up on it. And here's another picture. that's looking down on the top of it. What a mess, what a mess. And the lever adjuster and the top of the cap and the brass screw, the top of the handle and the brass screws, absolute mess. Now this is how it is now. That's straight out of the evaporust, and so is that. I haven't done anything to that yet. I have cleaned this side up. I get too excited and I think, well, I should leave something for the show, but I'm a bit of a tragic. All right, where are we up to? Let's have a look at this. I'm going to use a bit of 4-0, this stuff, 4-0 steel wool. I'll pull it out of there and like that. And let's see how we go. As I say, it may not be a very exciting show, but if you wondered about how to do things, it doesn't hurt to watch someone else go through and do all the experimenting first. Doesn't look too bad, does it? That's the other side I haven't touched, and that's the side that I have touched. Oh, how nice. It's not hard, is it? So after I put, I've said so again. I'm going to get the other camera and I'm going to show you where I have the evaporust. I'm going to swing it over here. There's the evaporust in here. This is a tub full of evaporust. It is a water-based product and it evaporates. I nearly threw out the sludge. This has been sitting here for around about a year. Sorry, sitting over on the shelf for about a year with no cover on it. And there was just a little bit of brown sludge in the bottom. I put some water in it and I got a screwdriver and I just stirred it up for about 5 minutes. And then I had it was all back again. Now, why go and buy another lot? Now in here, and I'm going to stick my hands in here because I've got a couple of brass pieces in here that are sitting. See how when you stir it up, it kind of reactivates. So there's a couple of brass screws that we're going to clean up over here very soon. I'll put them on a piece of towel. I love evaporust, it's brilliant. In Australia, you can get it at Super Cheap Auto. I'll bring this camera back. Lovely. And I'll see if I can get the other one. Should you polish it? You can polish if you want to. Not a problem. There we go, transition that one. Now I'm up in the corner again, so you can see what I'm up to. But how good is that? That's just lovely. After you've brought things out of evaporust, it's a good idea to give them a bit of a wash in ordinary water. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to rinse the evaporust off. Now without using, I haven't used any machines at this stage apart from the bandsaw to rip those little soft jaws for me. And you'll see me use those in a minute. Alrighty. This is so much fun. I love it. I'm going to use the steel wool again. Doesn't take long, does it? Now I could use the buff, the little buffing wheel, the cotton waste buffing wheel on the Sorby Pro Edge, which I have done for other things, and that would work. turn it around so you can see what it was like just before. Okay, and now I'm going to clean it. I'm not going to go anywhere with it. There we go. Love it. I'll do the other one a little bit later on. Oh, so much fun. Next thing we're going to do. Oh, this is the frog, and this is the depth adjustment wheel. I haven't put any lubricant, oil or whatever on the thread. After I clean this in Evaporust, and you don't, here's a tip with the plane as well, you don't need to release, see these two little forks here? You don't really need to release those from the frog itself at all. You just leave them on and it goes clear of it, like so. See those? They travel up and down as you move the adjustment wheel up and down. It moves this little lever here. That little one underneath the sideways lever. See, I'm moving it now backwards and forwards, not this one. Again, Evaporust and steel wool, and look how it came up. Also, after it was in the Evaporust, I don't know if you can see the thread down the inside, but once I cleaned it up in the Evaporust and gave it a rinse, it made it track on the thread, and this was cleaned also. Yeah, can we see it? Possibly. This threaded section here is basically we'll call it a bolt, I guess you could call it a bolt. That slides down and it makes sure it goes into there first, which it has. There. It's beautiful. I haven't done much on the inside there. I'll do that a little bit later on. So that's the frog. The frog lives in the body of the plane. So this is the sole, this is the toe, this is the rear, I guess you could call it. Let's call it the heel. I quickly ducked off stage to read my reference book. That's the heel, toe, and the sole, and it drops into there. And there's a couple of screws, lock it down. You can adjust it forwards and backwards. And down here is where an adjusting screw goes in, and I'll show you that one. It is this and this, those two things. That hooks over that, and it screws in to the back of the frog there, and as you tighten and loosen this guy, it moves the frog backwards and forwards on the sole of the plane. All right, now the part that I'm really excited about doing. I'll put these back in the little well on my bench because I can. The part that I'm very excited about is cleaning this up. This is the cellulose acetate handle, and you can see what a mess it was. You can see what I've done to the top here, and without using the buff. Now, the reason I haven't used the buff is because Ian was a little concerned that if you use it too much and overheat it, you might melt the cellulose acetate, and that would be a tragedy. What I'm doing here is I'm anchoring my drill press vise in the bench because it is a great system. There we go. And I can, this is my, I love this system. It's so easy. It doesn't take any space up. A couple of soft jaws made out of the cedar. We'll pop those in there. And now I'm going to put this in there and tighten that up. Just drop it down a little. It ain't going anywhere. Look at that. Now I'm going to give it a bit of a clean up. I'm going to use some 1000 platen. This is a 1000 grit sponge, you could call it. Now, I'm going to, don't be scared of sanding perspex or resins or acetates, because we're going to bring this up to be a high gloss down the side here, and it doesn't take long. Here we go. Now you look at that and you'll go, oh my goodness, Dave, what have you done? It's all gone cloudy. Correct. But that's okay. You'll be surprised. I like using these pads because they're very easy to, because they're spongy, they don't create a flat point anywhere. And you can do this with them. Oh, I love it. In around all the curves. Now there were some quite deep gouges in the side of this handle, and I want to get rid of them. If I wanted to, I could get rid of the seams. You know, when they I guess they injection mold these things. I could sand the seam right off it. Then you'd have people saying, oh, but Dave, then it wouldn't be original. And I'd have to agree with them. Correct, Peter. I'm just cleaning it back, and that is so nice. If you saw the video I did on doing the headlights on my little car, you'd see how it all went. I'm going to take it out. Can you see the scratches here? Possibly not. You look at this and you go, goodness. I'm going to sand a bit harder here. Can you see the scratches a little bit, identified a little bit more? And around the back there. I'm going to give it a quick wash with some water. See, now it doesn't look so bad, does it, after I've washed it? But even so, those scratches are going to be in there, and I have to clean them off. And the scratches from the grade of plate of 1000 I'm on, that also has to come off, because it won't be shining on its own. What will happen is it'll be dull. As you will see right now. See how dull that looks in comparison to the top, which I have finished already. All right, let's go to a 2000, and then we'll go to 4000, then we're going to go to the polishes. I'll pop it back in. Gotcha. 2000. Basically, the 2000 is getting rid of all of the marks that the 1000 made. 2000 is got twice the population of abrasive than the per square inch, or per given area, per given surface area, than the previous grid. the next one, I'll go up by 100% again. We'll use 4,000. All right, 2,000, then we go to 4,000. See, it says 4,000 grit. Well, who was your unexpected visitor there, Wayne? Oh, sorry, John. Oh, that's starting to look really, really nice. Look at that. Look at that. Unexpected visitor. Brown snake. You never can tell which one. I do need to do more around the back here, and I'll do that another day, or maybe this afternoon. I might just spend a little bit of time finishing it off. But I wanted to show you how easy this process is. And there's no risk of burning. No risk of burning at all. Depends on, on how fast you can move the paper, though, I guess. Or not the paper, the abrasive. There's a little bit down there I haven't got. I'll go back to the 2,000 there. And then back to the 4,000. I wonder how many people are watching, whether they've all gone to sleep like Barry. You can see now that's starting to look a whole lot better than it did. I haven't touched the bottom at all. I'm only working on the top section here at the moment. How's the time going? 25:2. You know, I've got a bit of time. I might be able to do that. It's important to look at how it's going and make sure that you're keeping it all up to the same standard. There's another bit there. Getting there. I'm gonna cheat a little bit and rub it on there, and I'm also going to cheat by using a bit of the flooring that I've got in here as an extra kind of cushion. Yes, I did. Wake up, wake up. But if you were curious on how to do this, it may well be worthwhile you're watching. It's like when I sanded the top of the dressing table. Boring as, but how many people stayed and watched? A heap. The flatter parts is much easier here. I'm going to do that part again. But the curved sections were a whole lot easier when it was mounted in the vise. Getting there, getting there, getting there. I reckon some people would watch just to see, have a look at the colour of this. Reminds me of raspberry syrup. And like any sanding job, you have to work the coarser grits to start, otherwise you're going to be there for a million years with the finer grits. And it's just not going to happen. Okay, let's go to the 4000 and then we'll jump into the polishes. Watching, but also trying to find my next project. Good on you. Dave, I wonder how dipping it in liquid polish would, at the end, work. I understand it gives the final... Wayne, that's what I'm going to do. I've got this guy. Let me put it there. And this guy. And they're the final part of the process. This is the rough part, believe it or not. You know, going up to 4000 grit, most joiners or cabinet makers would say, 4000 grit, wow, I'd never go past 320. But with resins and acrylics, you have to. You've got to go up to around 9000 to get a result. Pop it back in there. Yeah, definitely. You've got to. Oh, this is so much easier. So what's been happening in your week, guys? You reckon a genie will come out? Where do I buy the pads? Anywhere that Festool sells stuff, it's Festool Platen. A lot of places won't stock it because it's not really well known. If you're in Sydney, Carbotech Sydney stock them because I check the shelves and make sure it's there. I haven't been there a couple of weeks, so you know, hopefully it'll be there. But these things, they're not cheap like anything Festool. Pardon me, it's not cheap. But man, oh man, they do the job. All right, let's have a look at that. Nearly good, nearly good. 4000, I shall give that a little bit more of a clean there. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. When you're sanding and you go from one grit to the next, do you look at it and you go, wow, look how good that is in comparison? And I thought the previous grit looked good. And then you do it again. You go to the next grit up again and you go, oh my goodness. What a difference. What a transformation. It's the same kind of thing with this. Where's that other? I really do need to get in there and clean those up a little bit more down the bottom. If you get an old plane, you'll find that a lot of the time, where people touch it, you'll get build-up from just their dirty hands touching it. That's a whole lot better. 2000. Is this one? Yeah, during the week I was very excited about this. What a lame life. I don't travel. I'd rather stay in the shed and clean a handle on a hand plane than travel the world. That's just me. Is anyone else like that? Possibly not. Possibly not. So exciting. And the fleece is fantastic when waxing the table. Saw top. Yes, yes. Fleece is spelt V-L-I-E-S, and it's we would just say valise, but it's called fleece. That's how the Germans pronounce it. And you'll notice that I call my drop saw a capex. I don't call it a capex because that's how the Germans pronounce it. They pronounce it capex because that's how it is grammatically correct. They don't have the same rules as far as short vowels and stuff as we do in English-speaking languages, English-speaking countries, I should say. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. I've got a little mark down there that I think might scrape off with a bit of thumbnail work. Okay, around the back there, it's got to be a bit more on the 4000. That's looking good. These scratches here may stay. But look at that, that's with the 4000. Now, do you think that looks really good? Would you think that looks really nice? Well, I'm sorry to say, my friends, that looks rubbish to me. Here we go. We're going to go to the next. Do both and sleep less. Why not? Hi, Richard. How are you? These are my polishing pads that Festool. They're designed for the Rotex and the ETS5. So these are 150s, 6-inch. I am going to start with the 5000. When I keep these, I keep them back to back, and you can see I've written on them what grit they are for the polish. If you use the one pad for two different polishes, you run the risk of contaminating it unless you wash them out thoroughly. Now, I don't wash these pads because I don't want to waste the compound. So I put them back to back and I keep them in a Ziploc bag. First one, I'm going to go with 5000. And why do I like these ones? Because they are so spongy. Look at that. Which means it will accept all of the contours. I'm going to move my little vise out of the way now. That one and that one. I should really work out a way of holding on to that better. Maybe I'll get John to make a new handle for that. Pop that out of the way. They're a couple of 5/16 T-bolts with handles that I've smoothed off so they don't hit the side of the vise. All right, here we go. 5000. And we have this stuff here, 5000. Speed cut. Give it a shake. And squirt some out. What I'm going to do is put some gloves on. Because the last time I did a video with the headlight one, I didn't put any gloves on while I was handling this. And for me, it doesn't really worry me. But I guess I should be responsible, seeing I'm showing people how to do things. Okay. There we go. And remember, we've got this at the moment, and it's going to look like that when I've finished. Big difference. What do you reckon? Here we go. I don't need that under it. We'll just go for it. I might even go to Carl Camp for this one. Move things around. Carl Camp. And transition. There we go. Move that out of the way. Bring this up to here. Yeah, capex is not an A. It's not capex. Same as you pronounce it. Bessey, not Bessey, I guess. Well, I relate it to Nikon. In Australia, we call it Nikon because that's how the Japanese pronounce it. In the States, they say Nikon because only one K following. If there was two Ks, it'd be Nikon for them. But we understand that the Japanese say N-I. They can't pronounce I. Alrighty. I'm going to hold this over the edge. I'll go back to the other camera because I can. It's my show and I'll use whichever camera I want. Transition. This is hard using my other hand because come on, you silly thing. Because it's way over there, right? There we go. I've got the polish and everything in this hand. I don't want to get it all over here. Now I'm going to pull it over the edge of my bench and I can polish in there. And I'm going to do it like that for in the tight part. These pads, as I say, they're just so easy to work with. Okay, that's all of that. Now I'm going to work the back. I'm making sure that I'm getting all the way around it. I hadn't got that part. Now, Ian, if you're watching, you might pick up on a couple of these tips. I'm not proud. I enjoy picking up tips from absolutely anyone. If the tip works, why not? I'll switch it to the other camera with the trying to find a cat. There we go. I found the one I was after. That's going to show everything happening at the once. Yeah, as I say, if I'm not proud, I'll work on anyone's suggestion. I don't care who you are. If it's a good idea and it makes my life easier, why not? I'll use it. All right, I'm going to wash this now. The reason being, I don't want to contaminate the next pad I use. This is rinsing off the 5,000. We're going to go to 8,000 next. And I'm getting it off the glove as well. A little bit's caught here and there. What do you think? That's coming up nice? Do you like that? You wait till we go 8,000. Are you waiting? I'm going to dry it off because I don't want to wet the pad, the next pad. Don't you love it? These are sexy handles. You can understand, lust of the eyes. I get caught by these things, and next thing you know, I got a hand plane in the mail, and I am absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. Like, look at that. Look at that. And that's 5,000. I'm going to take it to 8,000. Look at that. Here we go. 8,000 grit. Get the 8,000 pad, which, my friend, I've put back in the bag to stop it dehydrating. Put that one over there on top of the bag. All right, so now we have the 8,000. I don't think they sell this anymore. I think they sell 9,000. Okay, Brendan. Oh, Peter, you reckon it looks good? We have no bushfires here. Peter, sorry. Kiwi 007, no bushfires here. One of the great things about where I live is we have a pretty good rainfall, but because of the rainfall, when we do get a dry period, the bush is so thick. It goes off like a bomb, but we're pretty good here. Don't you? I'm a tragic. This stuff, and then when I put it back in the plain body, we've got about 5 minutes left of the show. When I put it back in the plain body, you'll see how nice it looks. So this is the 8,000, as I say. I think you can get 9,000 now. Alrighty. Put all the goop on, and it goes into the pad. I keep working it around. We'll flip her over, go the other side. That's getting a bit more manageable. Maybe I'll put a little bit too much on. 9,000, I think there's another one you can go to 13,000 after that. I don't know if I'd go that far. I'm crazy, but I don't know if I'm that crazy. Yes, good question, Ron. It would work on wooden handles. The reason being, when I was mucking around with resins, I haven't done a river table or resin table or anything like that because personally I think it's something that a lot of woodworkers have done. There's no need for me to chime in and try and do it as well. So following on to that is better than saying so. Following on to that, I did a panel that had different coloured resins in it, and on a piece of substantial hardwood. It was a nice exotic hardwood, and it was. I don't like a high gloss look on timber. I'm not a fan of high gloss. Like I like satin finish on timber. Oiled or satin finish looks really nice to me. You know, not everyone is going to be the same. I went down that path with this system, and it worked really well. The timber came up beautifully. It's one of the reasons why I was keen to do it, because I know how it looks when I'm done. And I think to myself, oh, how nice. These pads are amazing, aren't they? Don't worry about time, Dave. Just finish the job. Yeah. Okay, so Brendan, best thing I ever picked up from YouTube, if trying to enlarge a hole, fit the hole saw with the same diameter as the hole inside the hole saw, inside the hole saw of the size you want to be, self-locates and everything. Correct. CMT make a series of hole saws, and they've got an adapter. So you can put the smaller hole if you're enlarging, because you can't make a hole smaller. But if you're enlarging it, there's an adapter. You put the previous one in, and it sits proud of the second one. It piggybacks the hole saw, the new size you have, over the top. And that would be similar, but it gives you more guiding. See, with the system you're talking about, if you pop the saw inside, you're only going to have the thickness of the metal protruding, maybe 1/8 of an inch, and it's not going to guide you as well. Oh, we're getting close. We're getting close. I've forgotten where I am because of the chat, but that's okay. That is just fine. I can see myself having a few of these planes. They're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I think I'm there. It's going to do for the moment. Let's have a look. Give it a wash. haven't gone anywhere. I'm just off camera giving this a quick tub. What have I got that I can clean that little bit out with? A couple of the holes have got polish sitting in them, so I'm cleaning those out. I can clean that out a little bit later. A glass case, you reckon? They say it's pretty good for car paint. That's one of the big things about the Rotex. It doesn't leave holograms. I'm trying to make sure all of the residue is off, because without any coating on it, like a baby oil or water, this has to shine all on its own. I don't want it to rely on a finish over the top. This resin has got to look really nice. Resin, I keep on calling it resin. Cellulose acetate has got to look, and that is as dry as. There's a little bit of condensation sitting on it there. How nice is that? No hand blade. With the water running, I have to go to the men's room. Let's have a look at it sitting on the plane. I'll make sure that there's no water on the bench at all. We'll put the plane there, and we'll put the back handle on. And the knob at the front, which I have to do a bit more work on. That's how it looks. And if I was to put a bright light behind it, and I can do that, let's have a look. Because this is a trick for photography. If you're wanting to know, you can make things look a whole lot better if you put a bright light behind. Let me see. I'm turning on my phone. Now this is something you can do with a larger panel. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. Magic, magic, magic. All right, guys, I think that's going to do us. Let me close this. Thank you so much again to all of my patrons. And I'm going to switch cameras back over to here. There you go. Oh, don't break it. David, don't break it. Turn it around the other way. I should have put the part in the center that holds the handle down. It's not broken. Don't panic. What's that doing? Right. So there's a couple of screws that have got to go in. Oh, it goes to the front. There we go. The other way round, David. There we go. Look at that. It's a beautiful thing. Now have a look at that in comparison to when I bought it. I'm going to throw a photo up of when I bought it. Here we go. Plane. It's the same handle, guys. It's all the same. So if you see something on YouTube, not on YouTube, on eBay, I'm so excited, and it looks like that, don't panic. Don't panic. Do what Uncle Dave did. And you will have it looking like that in comparison. How nice is that? Now, do you enjoy this kind of stuff? I'm hoping you say yes, because it floats my boat. what else can I say? It's absolutely fantastic. I love doing this restoration. And after I saw Ian Kerry's hand plane collection the other week, I was smitten. You saw me get the camera down and pan over all of them. And these are just beautiful. We are the custodians. We're the caretakers for them while we're on the planet. And I'm hoping that I can pass these on to my children. I'll have to get 3 more. I think I already have. They're coming. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to say thank you to my patrons individually, because without them, you guys would not be seeing this show. Blame them. Here we go. We've got Chris Sullivan. Chris is a fantastic sponsor. He's up the top there. Thank you so much, Chris. Your support is fantastic. Then we've got Johannes Mohr, John W., John Parra, Vincent Ngian, John Lafferty, Peter Woolworth, Brian Shaw, Brian Del Vecchio, Justin Bailey, Michael Christophers, Brett Guthrie. Thank you so much for all you guys. Thank you to everyone who is a patron. These guys are in the levels that get their names called out, and they have other special things that I can do for them if they need it. Please, if you want to jump in, get your name read out, go to my Patreon site. There's a link in the description box down the bottom. I think that's going to be about it for the moment, guys. What a difference in that plane. I'm going to quickly read. I do this stuff. I keep running out of stuff to restore. Good on you, Peter. Mitch, that plane looks fantastic. Dave, what a great... Thank you so much, Peter. Good show, my friend. Rob, damn how I'm going to get my Stanley planes looking like that. You will do it. You will do it. Alan Atkins, yes, enjoying watching. Jim K, love it. Thank you so much for everyone for coming. And I'm going to close the show off. Be nice to each other. Have a great week. Look after yourselves. And I shall see you next week.